Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, Real Estate for Real with Arek and Elaine, and great to have you here again. As you can see, we have one special guest today, Mr. Denis.
Denis is a very young, inspiring entrepreneur. We wanted to have him here today to share some of his investment strategies and tips and what brought him from where he started to where he is today. So we're very excited to have Denis with us.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
In your own dining room.
A little bit about this house, right? I mean, you just acquired this property in April. We're sitting in a mansion right on Albany Avenue in West Hartford. We've got over 8 bedrooms and ensuite bathrooms. It's quite impressive. But it's not ready for public viewing yet, but I've seen it and can vouch for it, and it's gorgeous. I love it and would be happy to live here.
And you've been doing real estate investments for only a couple of years. So can you tell us, how did you get from 0 to here?
So I was 16, started a candle company.
Wow.
So I started making candles just as like a little side gig, and I actually invented a melting pot to increase my candle production capacity, which I then started selling nationally for $350 a pot. It cost me around $75 to make.
Nice.
So I sold those on eBay, made around $40K my first year, and I took that and I bought the cheapest house I could. I was just starting into college and I was looking at the housing prices for living on campus, and it would be $60K over 4 years. And I thought, that's a down payment on a house. Why would I spend that to go to college when I could just put it into a house and then live in the house after college? So I thought, let me take all this money I have, and instead of spending on student housing, I'll go buy a house. Unfortunately, no bank would loan to me as an 18-year-old with no job and sole proprietorship income. So I had to settle for a house that I could buy in cash. I found a completely abandoned, uninhabitable house. It was a duplex, 2,000 square feet, 6 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it was $50K. I negotiated down to $48,750, and I closed on it.
Wow, I love it. That's brilliant mind at work. And did anybody guide you or influence you in your thought process? I mean, that's really impressive. I love your analysis of the cost for student housing, and what a great way to start. Mm-hmm. Create your own investment out of that.
So I actively had everyone in my family against me at the time. They were very nervous about me buying this completely uninhabitable house as an 18-year-old with no construction experience at all. And they were like, this is a rough area, you don't want to go into this, like you're just going to throw away all this money. And I researched on YouTube, I looked at this old house, I did a lot of HGTV, and I figured out how to renovate it myself. It actually wasn't too hard, it's just a lot of puzzle pieces that have to be put together, and then I hired in contractors where I needed.
Perfect, wow. And where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Vernon,
okay.
And then I moved to Avon, and I actually ended up buying a house in Rockville, part of Vernon.
Sweet, so was that your first house, the duplex?
Yes.
And that's where the duplex was?
Do you still own it? Do you still have it?
I still have it, yes.
Nice, and so are you renting that out?
So it's rented currently. It gets $1,500 for the second floor, $1,250 for the first floor, and then I rent out the garage for $500.
Good for you. And you paid cash. This was your first investment, you
Yes.
paid cash. Wow.
How much time did it take you to renovate that first house?
So let's see, I bought it January 15th, and the heating system was not active, so there was no heat in the house. Just on the first floor, so I renovated the first floor. I think, let's see, April, I was able to rent out the garage, which I just left as is, and I got, I think, $400 a month at that time for the garage.
Okay.
Which was enough to cover just the tax bill on the house, which
Sure.
was good. I didn't have a mortgage, but the tax bill was $400 or something a month.
Okay.
It took 6 months to get the second floor finished. I had to repipe all the gas line for the heating system. And then it took another 3 months to finish the first floor. So within 9 months, I had the whole house renovated, and at the time, I think it was making $2,700 a month.
That's fantastic. And you were going to school? Did you continue
Yes, I was a
going to
full-time
school?
student at the
And
time.
you were a full-time student. Now, did you graduate or did?
So I
investing take
graduated
over?
2 years ago from University of Hartford.
Great.
But halfway through, I understood that investing would have been the choice I was going to take, the career path. So while I finished school, I kind of wish I had dropped out, because it was kind of just a waste of money at the end. But I finished it, and now I'm on my path, so.
Wow, okay. So the path happened a little bit by accident, by necessity. So this
Yes.
was born of necessity, but you found a passion for it, and you definitely have a skill for it. So that's exciting. Tell us a little bit more about some of your other investments.
So let's see. The first duplex was the first house. Then after that, I went and bought a single-family house for $82,000. It was a foreclosure. Every pipe in the house burst. So it had gotten so bad there was 8 feet of water in the basement coming out the basement windows.
Oh, yikes.
Down the street. The furnace had to get replaced. The entire heating system had to get replaced. There was sheetrock missing on the wall. It was a mess.
Who was doing that?
So I did that myself too.
How'd you get rid of the water in the basement?
Luckily, that was pumped out for me.
Okay.
So I bought the house for $82. Within half an hour of closing at the lawyer's office, I drove over with a crowbar and just knocked down a wall. So I took out a dividing wall in the front of the house, and that's how it started.
Wow.
Instantly, plaster everywhere. And
So that's house number 2.
yes,
How many properties do you currently own?
sometimes I forget, so let me count. So I have the duplex, I have the single family, I bought another duplex, I bought my 7-unit building, I have a 6-unit building, and now I have this house that I also rent out.
Wow, that's quite a portfolio. So I take it now our banks speaking to you and talking to you favorably? How are you financing all of these?
I've always been going through hard money loans. The first house I bought in cash. The second house I used a hard money loan at 12% interest.
Oh.
So they used the equity in the first house to buy the second house for me. So I had no money down in it. I used that also to renovate the house. I then got a 30-year fixed loan on the first property, which paid off the hard money loan. And I got a 30-year fixed loan on the new property. And I used that money as a down payment for a new house, and I just kept doing that.
Oh, okay, nice. So one finances the other,
Mhm.
basically. You just keep it rolling.
Once you can get that first one paid off and you do a cash out refinance, then you're golden.
Beautiful. Sounds great. Would you ever consider financing a house for someone else?
So I have my single family right now, and there's a couple that lives in it, and it's rented out for $2,000 a month. I could potentially do seller financing for them, and I might just sell them the house. It would be advantageous for me, and if they want to buy the house, I'll probably do that for them.
Oh, nice. All right. So that brings in another avenue,
Mhm.
another source of income. That's so cool.
Bringing you to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And so what areas do you look into when you're looking for an investment property? Do you have a particular favorite city, town, location that you like to focus on?
So I started in Rockville, Connecticut, and it's cheap over there. It's this perfect storm of very wealthy town 100 years ago, so the insides of the houses are gorgeous, but the outsides have really deteriorated as people lost their jobs and the town just kind of fell apart. So very cheap real estate, very good rental prices. I've started there. I've been able to grow very quickly in that area. I've now been moving to Hartford and West Hartford. West Hartford's a much more stable area.
Right.
Tenants pay better, it's easier.
Right. But then your pricing is a little bit higher in West
Mhm.
Hartford to acquire your acquisitions.
How is the year 2020 with all the COVID and pandemic situation influencing your business and your ability to buy or sell houses?
So I was in the process of selling one of my condos I renovated, and I was using, I forget what it's called. It's where you use one property as a contingency to buy another property. So I was doing that, and the buyers kept falling through with the coronavirus. So they fell through. I was in contract with a different property, and I now had no buyer on my house, so that fell through. And then I got notification that all the lending had frozen, so I wasn't able to get lending on any of these properties. And I was buying this house in April, and the lending was shutting down at the time, and we were very close to the buyer not closing on this house.
Oh, wow.
We got delayed, I think, 2 months because the rates were fluctuating so quickly.
Right. There was a period of time when they were drastically changing overnight.
So I got the house quoted at 2.8, and then it went up to 5%, and then it went down to 3.5%, and we were all over the place.
Wow.
Luckily I closed.
At a favorable rate, I'm sure.
So what's the big plan for the 2021?
So right now I'm looking at refinancing my portfolio because a lot of my properties have 50% equity in them. And if I do a portfolio loan, which is when a company will, or well, the bank, will loan on all 5 of my properties and combine them all to one big loan, and then they'll cash out the properties as well, which will allow me to get a lot of leveraging power to buy another property.
Right, exactly. Maybe even more than one.
So right now, if I was to leverage out my properties, I get about $3 million worth of buying power.
Nice.
And I'm looking at a 25, 30, something big.
Okay, nice.
So all of that within last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say? What would be your tips for people who are watching video? Where to start and what's the best steps for them, for the beginning investors?
So for the beginning investor, there's 2 avenues that you can do. You can either do the BRRRR method, which is what I did, buy, remodel, rent, refinance. So that's how I create equity very quickly, by doing sweat equity. For people who don't have the capital to start like I did, you could always buy a multifamily house, and you used a fantastic program that had a 3.5% down payment. You actually got money back at close.
That's good.
And I think that was a great investment strategy for you, for someone who has a stable job but doesn't have the capital to start. And now you're looking at another property.
Making more next steps? Yes.
That's great advice. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I like the 2 different methods. So if it's somebody's passion, where there's a will, there's a way, right?
Of course.
And if you could go back to 2015 and give an advice to young Denis, what would that be?
Let's see. When I was buying my first house, there were 2 houses on the market, both at $50K. I had the accepted offer on both. Just the way it worked out. I put the offer in on one, they didn't take it. I put the offer in the other, they took it, then the other people came back and accepted my offer. So I had 2 offers on the table for these 2 great houses. The other one probably would have been less work. I mean, it was in better condition. I don't know why.
But then you would learn less.
True, I would have learned less, but it would have been so much easier.
What a great story, though. I love your perseverance and how it all came together, and you just kept working it. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's the most profitable investment strategy in the areas that you're working in? Rent and hold or flipping?
So the reason why I'm so large as an investor as I am today is because I haven't sold anything. So I've never had to pay taxes or like capital gains tax. I don't have to pay really any taxes on the money I make. Most of my income is from getting loans from the bank. So when I do a refinance, the bank will cut me a check for $150,000, which is not taxed at all because it's considered debt, even though the tenants are paying the mortgage and I functionally will never pay that back. That's how you make the most money with buying and holding and then refinancing. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Nice. That's cool. I want to do this now. Side job.
I mean, it's great for a realtor to do it because you get all the best deals. You can get the commission percentage.
True. You'd think that we get all the best deals, but there's not like a little secret list of inventory out there. We get the same amount of access and notice as the person on the street, unless it's coming directly to us from one of our sources. Yeah.
Unless there are some off-market opportunities.
Right. You have to work. You have to really be focused to find those off-market opportunities.
Yeah. Especially now with such a low inventory, it's really hard time to find these potential flips or rehabs.
Exactly. What's the most interesting way that you found a property? I mean, so you're using the website, but have you found any off-market properties through entirely different avenues?
Let's see. My first rental I purchased, the house across the street. Well, really the whole street. I sent out letters to everyone on the entire street.
Oh, I love it.
I just wanted to buy the whole street.
Okay.
And the house across the street was the only person who got back to me. It's a 5-unit building, and we're in contract right now under off-market
Nice.
for a 40% return.
Nice. Oh my gosh.
He's
All right.
80 years old. He's just done with the rentals, and it's a steal for me. It's a good deal for him. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Good for you. I love it. Yeah, that's creative. So you just did your own canvassing, basically. Oh, perfect. Really good. And you're scheduled to close this year?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice.
Any final thoughts on the real estate investments?
Um,
Do it. Just do it.
You can never start too early.
So it sounds like you found your niche with multifamilies.
The multifamily market has been stable in Connecticut for a very long time. Single family, not so much.
Right, it took a long time for the single-family market to recover after the last recession. I mean, we're at recovery prices now, but as we all know, what goes up must come down, so it's just a matter of time before it goes back down. And like you said, so you need to be in that house or rent it for at least 10 years.
I think 2009, it then dipped down, and now we're back to the 2009 levels post-crash, but we're nowhere close to pre-crash.
Took a long time.
My mother bought a house in Buckingham, in Avon. The neighborhood is like a very cute neighborhood. They were selling those houses for $750 a piece, and then after the crash, they were selling for $580. Then the past few years, they've been selling for like $525. So they went down. Now they're back to $580, but
Yeah, they're right.
If you can afford to keep it, just keep it. But then that's the problem that everyone can. Thank you so much for letting us pick your brain. And I hope that you guys found that interview and all the answers and the questions that we asked very helpful, and that it will spark your interest to start your own real estate adventure.
Absolutely. Don't forget to like us and subscribe to our page. We'll look forward to sharing some more videos with you in the future.
Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye!
Bye.
bye.